My friends and I have actually stumbled upon theater. There are people who think that we went looking out for it. But the truth is that theater seems to have come looking for us. There were times when we actually tried to run away from it, but escape it we couldn't. Theater came and romanced us, brought us a variety of gifts. And here we are, still. And now we don't want to escape. We are in love with theater. Theater is a very ancient art, perhaps one of the most ancient of the arts. Almost every culture and civilization seems to have had a form of theater. And they all seem to have had a ritual element to it. What about today? Is theater then a dying art? I would say no. And I would suggest that it's still a ritual of sorts, except that it doesn't really celebrate a good harvest or the passing of an old year and the coming of a new one. But what it does celebrate is the very joy of life and the need for collaborative living. Theater affirms and reaffirms that we have a common destiny. If you think about it, we live in intriguing times. All around us, we find violence and aggression mounting day by day. And yet we train ourselves and our children relentlessly in more and more aggressive behaviors. It looks as if our preferred form of interaction is combative and aggressive. And of course we realize that market forces are driven by the competitive spirit. But the same forces have overlapped and overflown into our political sphere, into our sports, even into our family life. And we do not really seem to understand in what way it is changing our life and our interactions. But somewhere at the back of our mind, we begin to understand that it is a little bit of a vicious trend. And so, to be cautious, we have gone and framed a new phrase, and we call it healthy competition. Healthy competition. What does that mean? That there are many losers and just a few winners. What's healthy about that? I've never understood. We get our children to compete. I talk to parents, I talk to teachers, and they have singing competitions, dance competitions. I don't know whether you heard, but I heard about banana eating competitions. What is it that we are trying to prove? Parents say, but children have to be prepared to face the real world. It's cutthroat out there. Theater says the opposite. If it's cutthroat out there, go out there and change the culture. You don't have to join it. I have been lucky enough to be part of theater for the last 30 years. Dramatic years, happy years. What is it that I have learned? I have learned basically that in theater we rehearse collaborative living. We are not solo performers. Many kinds of artists are. The painter, the sculptor, sometimes even a singer or a dancer can be a solo performer. Theater never is. In theater, we learn from one another. A director who sees the actor as a rival is not right in the head. And Romeo certainly does not want to outshine Juliet. So what does culture do? It actually creates a counterculture. The theater culture is a counterculture. What is it the theater has offered us? For 30 years it has enchanted us. What has it given us? One of its great gifts has been an invitation to play. The stresses of living can be pretty wounding, and cultures under stress can feel a sense of lack of self-worth, a sense of loss. Theater arrives with a gift. It invites us to play. It invites us to be childlike. It asks us to put on masks, put on personas. We discard them eventually. But the laughing and the crying and the reflecting at what has happened on stage can cleanse and can empower both performer and audience. Of course, we get rid of the costumes and the personas that we took on stage. But the expansion of being that we experienced doesn't necessarily leave us. Recently, we did a play that we entitled The Name of the Game. There is this old holy man that arrives at a village, and the people come to him and they say, "Master, teach us to pray." And he says, when you play, celebrate when you win, but also celebrate the other team that played with you. And they say, "Master, don't mock us. Teach us how to pray." And he says, when you play, play with fun. Play simply. Simply play. I think the theme of the play is that play is a form of prayer, perhaps. In sports today, do we play anymore? Do we play cricket? Do we play football? In that crazy race for medals and cups, what has happened to play? It seems to me that now that we have new words circulating amongst us, words like post-truth, it's only a matter of time until we start using the word post-play. Theater is a many-layered art. As we said earlier, it is not solo performing at all. There is the playwright who has crafted the text with power. Then comes the director who tries to understand, who tries to interpret. The actors who incarnate this very complex vision. The audience present in the moment that contributes and co-creates. And in this whole process, something organic and beautiful is born. Not only do we collaborate amongst us performers, we have collaborated with artists of various kinds. We've been extremely fortunate to collaborate with painters, with singers, with musicians who have composed music and played for us live. Theater can bring many arts together and bring art to the people. What have we gained? At least one thing: enormous goodwill. If anybody tells you that collaboration is easy, I can tell you it isn't. It's tough. It demands that we discard one-upmanship, because obviously there is a larger purpose. Theater is never about me, it's about us. It does not thrive on uniformity. It thrives on diversity. But what it does demand is kinship. Society cannot function without a strong sense of kinship. So we seek with complete focus a moment of collective power. I think what could perhaps be further researched and celebrated is the impact that theatre has on the performer. Friends of mine have often said that they really and truly experience a real sense of being in community. Obviously, there's mutual respect, there's mutual support, there's plenty of love. And theatre is about releasing creativity, not only individual, but team creativity. A friend of ours, Vali, often says with great pride, it is theatre and the friends that I found in theatre that took me out of the streets and a life of waste. So, what does theatre do to us? Does it speak to us about the divisive philosophy of personal success at the cost of others? Oh no. Theatre gives dramatic life to the verse of a poet, Luciano da Crescenzo, who tells us each of us is an angel with only one wing. It is only embracing one another that we can fly. So my contention today is that we need theatre. We desperately need theatre in our schools, in our neighborhoods. And this we have discovered. We haven't learnt it from books or other people's ideas. We have discovered it within. And I assure you that flying together, wingtip to wingtip, is beautiful. And it's so much fun. And so, thank you. Let's fly high together with theatre. Thank you.